Second point I think was interesting point that Shastriji made was that my foundation pioneered this idea of funding academic chairs to go to the source where the knowledge is created. Now it's become fashionable, a lot of people are talking about it, and I have some concerns with the type of chairs they are funding, because sometimes they are funding chairs which are putting the wrong kind of people. Like there is a Dharma Civilization Foundation in Los Angeles, and they're actually, some of the people that they sponsor are exactly on the opposite side. So they're sponsoring, because there's a lot of double-faced, mixed-up people who talk very nicely. But when you look beneath the surface, you find out that their scholarship has been actually the kind of thing we're opposing. Now, after 15 years of engaging the academy, giving them a lot of money, hard-earned money, being alone out there, negotiating, getting academic programs in, I reached the conclusion that the funding and the academic interventions we need are actually in India. I actually reached the conclusion. Because if you are going to spend $2-3 million to get a chair in the US, with that much budget you can get 10 people, 15 people, the whole department in India. And if you have homegrown people who are practitioners, who are in the soil, the leverage effect is huge. They can create a big parampara, they can have students, you can create a journal, you can create an annual conference. You can actually do a lot more with the same budget. That is one point. Second point is that I have so much experience trying to use funding and diplomacy and all of that stuff to change people's thinking. But the establishment here is so grounded and rooted in a certain ideology. One person alone in Harvard cannot do anything because he's surrounded by a whole lot of people. He'll either become ignorable by the rest of them, or if he opens his mouth, they'll sort of blacklist him, which will be bad for his career. So, you waste a lot of money, but you don't really get the mileage. And the third reason is, when you have people in India speaking a certain way from an organization with some authority, some university or some credible organization, and I wish we had Hindu seminaries in India, I really would like to create that. When you have those kind of people, it has legitimate value internationally. One lone voice here may not be even, but people may think that, okay, who is he? What kind of authority does he really have? He's one voice, but there's 50 saying the opposite. But if you have somebody from a prominent institution in India taking a certain position, he has a stature. Because he's in India, he has stature when he's talking about India and he's talking about Hinduism. So we need to, I'm in favor of actually shifting this whole focus of funding academics to start from India, and then that knowledge can radiate here. When we tried to intervene in the school textbook issue, our opponents came and said that, look, the same things that you are criticizing, what we are doing, we are copying from the Indian textbooks. So how can you argue? When we argued against this Aryan debate, Aryan theory, my opponents showed me printouts from Government of India, Ministry of External Affairs websites. If our own people, officials in universities in India, in government, and some religious organizations, quite mixed up all these matters, are mixed up in these topics, then how can we legitimately fight here? So really the fight has to start where the home base is. We have to, the insiders of our tradition, have to get our act together, and then we can project from there. Otherwise, it's a sham. People will think it's a sham because there's some guy, he's got some agenda, and he's opinionated, and we can disregard him because he doesn't have legs to stand on. So the real fight is, I think, with our own Indian left, the forces that in the book Breaking India, who are these people that are breaking India, the nexus with the West and Indians, we have to take them on, and so on.